as I worked for Parks Canada, the town manager was representing Parks Canada on the Mineral Springs Hospital Board.
Was that Johnson?
I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. So he didn't like the idea. And the superintendent came to me one day and he said, well, you know, the town manager feels lost sitting on the hospital board. Why don't you go on the hospital board? Because you do all these rescues and you bring people constantly in the hospital. You talk to all the doctors, you know everybody in the hospital and nuns and you know, and everybody. So I said, well, if you want me to, I'll do that. Well, the chairman of the hospital board was John Gow.
Right.
But when I was president of the Guide Association, when we formed that Association of Canadian Mountain Guides, I had asked John to be my vice president.
Okay.
So when John was president of the hospital board, he asked me to be his vice president. So I said, okay, I'll take this on. I have no idea about hospital administration or operations, only as long as I stay vice president.
Yeah. Now, did John have his accident then already?
He had had his accident already, yeah. So, what happens? 2 months later, he leaves. And I automatically will go into
Chairmanship.
being president of the chairman of the hospital board.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually quite a bit of fun because I liked to work with the nuns, you know. Sister LeBlanc was absolutely super. She was the superior of Sisters of St. Martha at the time. And we went through many, many stages. First of all, it turned out that the hospital structure itself was completely useless as far as first aid was concerned and emergencies was concerned, because it was set up for bedrooms and this sort of stuff, long-term care also, and acute care naturally. So what happened was we brought in, especially in the wintertime, with broken legs and all of that sort of stuff, the hallways were full of stretchers, and so one had to renovate the hospital. Well, it turned out to renovate the hospital would have cost 70% of the construction of a new hospital. And the Minister of Health always made the ruling that if you had to spend 70% to renovate, you may as well build a new hospital. So we started looking at a new hospital.
What year would that have been?
Pardon?
What year about was that?
Ooh, don't ask me about years.
Okay.
My life is...
Okay, just go ahead. Yeah.
So this turned out to be a major, major problem. Dave Russell was Minister of Health at the time, and he had hired Cojos de la Salle and Evermy to design a prototypical hospital. And prototypical hospitals were 50 beds, 100 beds, 150 beds. But in order to get enough emergency space for a hospital as what we needed, we would have had to have a 150-bed hospital, which was totally useless. All we needed was 25 beds
for the locals
and 25 long-term care, and a big emergency. So it turned out that we had to have a special designed hospital. We couldn't use a prototypical. The other problem was we didn't have a site. The old hospital, which finally everybody realized was 8-inch concrete walls, was very difficult to renovate, and so we went new anyway. But Parks Canada said, if we give you a new site, you have to destroy the old hospital and make a park out of it. Well, this was very, very expensive.
Plus, it was a good building.
Yeah, and on top of it, a building. So I went to Calgary with my CEO from the hospital, and I went to the gal who ran the YMCA in Calgary.
Yeah.
And I said to her, you know, I have a deal for you. Nobody knew about this. And she said, what's the deal? I said, well, you can have a very, very beautiful building in Banff, make it a YMCA for $1. And she said, oh yeah, where do you come from? What institution? So I went back and took her back to the soup, and I said to the superintendent, I have a fabulous deal for you. You know, it's humane, it is interesting, you will get nothing but good publicity out of it. Why don't we make the old hospital into a YMCA, and this lady is a president of the YMCA, whatever, and she will renovate the place, and we have this excellent YMCA in Banff. And he looked at me and he said, well, how do we do this? And I said, well, I told her, you'll take it, you know, you'll give it to her for $1. This is exactly what happened. This is how the YMCA came about.
Yeah.
We didn't destroy the building, and we got the new site.
Plus, you got a good service.
Yeah.